Hi, if you want to watch exclusive content with hot girls that you won't watch on YouTube, namely where Naruto roasts Kushina and Mikoto and many other hot girls without restrictions, then visit my Boosty channel at the link in the description. The first rays of the sun pierced the sky, signifying the arrival of a new day. Despite the early hour, no one was sleeping in Konoha. Everyone was rebuilding their native village, destroyed by the leader of Akatsuki. 4 days had passed since its destruction by pain, and everyone was busy with something. Naruto walked through the village, thinking about something. Everyone looked at him with admiration, pride and gratitude, because he was the one who saved them, the hero of his village. But he walked, not paying attention to anything. No one could recognize in him the former cheerful, restless blonde. He was gloomier than a cloud and almost did not talk to anyone. And when his friends asked what was wrong with him, he just waved it off and said that everything was fine. He walked without knowing where, just walked where his feet led him. When Sakura saw her friend, she decided to ask him what happened and went to meet him. "Hello, Naruto." "Hello?" The shinobi answered coldly and walked past. "What happened to you, Uzumaki? You haven't been yourself for 4 days. Explain already!" The kunoichi demanded with anxiety in her voice. "Everything is fine, don't worry," the blonde replied just as coldly. "That's not an answer. I completely agree with her. What's going on, Naruto?" Kakashi appeared from behind the rubble of the building. "I told you, everything is fine," Naruto replied with a hint of steel in his voice and walked away. After giving her friend a worried look, Sakura turned to the teacher. "What do you think is wrong with him, Kakashi-sensei?" Sakura asked worriedly. "If I knew, Sakura, if I knew," he answered, saying the last words almost in a whisper. With her head down, the kunoichi wandered towards the tents. Kakashi raised his head and looked at the sky, which was slowly being covered with clouds. "What happened to you in that battle, Naruto? Was it that battle that changed you so much, or was it something else? You changed too fast. I don't like it. Something is definitely going to happen, and it's definitely not good," Kakashi thought and disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Walking along the remains of the street, Naruto recalled the end of the conversation with Nagato. "You are strong, Naruto, but not strong enough. The Shinobi World War is coming, and he will stop at nothing. He needs what is inside you to complete his plan. He is much stronger than me, and even more so than you. You must become stronger, much stronger, to protect what is dear to you. And do not misunderstand me, you will not get what you want here. And one more thing I will give you, consider it my dying gift. I do not want him to get it after death. Learn to control them, and with the power of the fox inside you, you will become invincible. I believe in you, Naruto, as our sensei once believed in you. Remember my words, Naruto. Goodbye." Clenching his fist, Naruto looked up at the sky as the first drops of rain fell on his forehead protector, followed by a light rain. "If that's the case, then I have no other choice. Today I'll have to do it. I hope they'll understand me," the young man thought, looking into the distance. "You're making the right choice, Naruto, but this one-eyed old man just won't let us go. We'll leave at night," said a voice in the boy's head. Naruto froze for a second, then dove into the subconscious. "Even though it's hard for me to admit it, you're right, Kyubi," the guy said, looking through the cage at the fox. "It must be said that nothing has changed here. The same pipes dripping water, a huge cage with a seal in the middle, a floor flooded with water, and he is the most powerful tailed beast, the Kyubi no Yoko." "Kurama," the demon said quietly. "What? Kurama?" the guy asked, not understanding. "My name is Kurama," the fox continued to say. "It's time for you to go, otherwise you'll get soaked to the skin, and I don't need you sick." Seeing that the guy wanted to ask him something, the fox pushed Naruto out of the subconscious. After waking up, Naruto wandered towards his house. Today will be a sleepless night, thought the fox, grinning, looking at the glass box that the young man had left here. Evening fell upon Konoha, enveloping it in the shackles of the approaching darkness. Naruto was in his new house. Sitting on the window, he looked into the distance. The room was deathly silent, broken every now and then by the sounds of raindrops falling on the roof. Getting up from the window, the blonde walked over to the backpack he had already prepared, casting a sad glance at his house. Naruto took the backpack and headed for the exit. The Jinchuriki walked through the deserted streets, approaching the gates, or rather, what was left of them. Stopping, the young man looked at the faces of the Hokage and headed towards the exit. "Are you going far, Naruto?" Kakashi came out from the shadow of a tree with Yamato and Sakura. "It's none of your business, it's necessary," the blonde said coldly. "I don't think so. You're not going anywhere until you tell me what happened to you," Sakura said in a demanding tone. "I already said, this only concerns me," Naruto said in a more confident tone. "You're not going anywhere," Yamato said. "Don't make me use force, I don't want to hurt you," Naruto said. "Are you really going to fight us, Naruto? Just go back to the village and we'll talk," the copy ninja replied with a hint of confusion. "If you don't leave, I won't have a choice." "Then consider that you don't have it," Yamato replied, folding the seals. "Okay," Naruto said, closing his eyes. "Shinra Tensei." The trio was thrown 6 meters away from the blonde. Kakashi was the first to get up, but he was in a state of shock. "How?" he said in confusion, looking at the blonde, whose Rinnegan was glowing in his eyes. It was not like Nagato's. Its color was not gray, but bluish-violet. "A gift from Nagato," he replied. "Sorry, Sensei, I really have to go. Maybe we'll see each other soon." "Just don't ask me the reason, I can't tell you the reason." "But what will I tell the Hokage?" the shinobi answered, while Yamato and Sakura approached Kakashi with stunned faces. "And I don't need anything to say." Tsunade appeared from behind the fence. "At least it's worth it." Seeing the boys nod, the Hokage sighed heavily. "You understand that you are still being hunted. Not all of the Akatsuki have been killed, and besides, you haven't recovered enough, and the elders will tear my head off for you," Tsunade said, realizing that she wouldn't be able to convince him otherwise. "Well, you can handle it," the blonde said with a smile. "I can't send you alone." "No! I'm going alone, and this is not up for discussion," Naruto answered, interrupting the blonde, producing a small burst of chakra, from which the slab began to crack. After some thought, Tsunade made a difficult decision. "Go before I change my mind," the woman muttered discontentedly. "Thank you, Hokage-sama," the guy said and disappeared without any effects. Everyone looked at the place where the blonde had stood a second ago, a little dumbfounded. Kakashi was the first to recover from the shock. "Did you hear the whole conversation?" asked the ash-haired man. "Yes, and about the Rinnegan too," answered the fifth. "Tsunade-sama, are you sure you did the right thing by letting him go?" Sakura asked. "Not really, but we should trust him. This is the first time I've seen him so serious and thoughtful. Maybe he'll go after Uchiha or…" "Damn, I don't understand what's on his mind anymore," Tsunade replied with a hint of disappointment. "What are you planning, Naruto?" Sakura thought, raising her head to the stars. Uzumaki moved to the foot of a cliff, near Kumo. Climbing up the slope, he entered a cave. After walking a little along the tunnel, Naruto found himself in a cave of considerable size. "This one will do," said the shinobi, placing the backpack against the wall. Coming out to the middle of the hall, the blonde bit his finger and began to make seals. "Summoning technique," Naruto said, slamming his palm on the floor. Symbols spread across the floor from his hand, and a small scroll appeared where the clap had touched. The guy sat down on the floor, unrolled the scroll and started looking for something. "Here it is." "Found it, Kurama!" the shinobi shouted mentally. "Why are you yelling like that?" "Are you ready?" the fox's voice sounded in his head. "Yes," Uzumaki said in a confident tone. "Then let's go," the nine-tailed one replied. Naruto began to form seals. The phalanges of his fingers began to be covered in blue flames. The guy raised his windbreaker up and touched the seal, turning his hand clockwise. The seal of the fourth began to open. A bright splash of chakra illuminated the cave. Naruto stood on the floor. The guy's appearance changed. He was covered in a bright yellow glow. The windbreaker turned into a kind of cloak with long sleeves. They widened towards the wrists. Naruto's clothes were covered in patterns. The stripes on his cheeks became wider. The Rinnegan still burned in his eyes. All that's left is to get some chakra from the rest of the tailed beasts. A week has passed since Naruto left. The Kage meeting, called by the Reikage, has already begun in the land of iron. Let's begin the Kage meeting, said the samurai leader Mifune. I present the floor to Lord Reikage. I have gathered you here for 2 reasons. The first is the threat of Akatsuki, the second is Uchiha Sasuke. I informed everyone. I take upon myself the second reason. Everyone turned towards the voice. Naruto! Tsunade and Gaara exclaimed in surprise. A blond man was standing near the wall. His appearance had changed. He was wearing a black and orange windbreaker, with a black cloak over it. Naruto also had black pants and sandals of the same color. Boy, where did you get these? Before he could finish speaking, the Tsuchikage interrupted Uzumaki. Not now, Tsuchikage-sama, Naruto said in a calm voice. I need to talk to you, Reikage-sama. And about what? Kage said, smiling. Understand me correctly, I need a small portion of the Hachibi's chakra. Uzumaki answered just as calmly. What? Are you out of your mind? Roared I. I need some of his chakra to complete the plan. The shinobi replied. What's the plan? The Mizukage asked. Okay, I'll tell you. A couple of hours later. Okay, bring B, I said more calmly. What about Sasuke? Tsunade said, folding her arms across her chest. I've already made an appointment with him for tomorrow in the valley. Naruto replied. And what makes you think he'll listen to you? Gaara asked. He has 2 options. The first, listen to me and help. The second, fall by my hand. The Jinchuriki said with sadness in his voice. But I hope for the first. Stop! You said that you needed the other's chakra, even if only in small quantities. It dawned on Aya oddly enough. I already have it, and don't ask how I got it, it's a long story, and I don't have time. Naruto parried the answer. I called you, bro. B appeared in the passage. Bye, I need about 1/10 of the Hachibi's entire chakra. Naruto said instead of the Reikage. The Jinchuriki first looked at his brother, seeing an affirmative nod, he extended his chakra paw to Uzumaki and began to pour chakra. Having poured the last remnants of chakra, B stepped back, and changes began to occur with Naruto. Dark purple chakra began to envelop him, and blood began to flow from his eyes in thin streams. How are you? The Hokage asked with a hint of concern. Everything is just perfect. Naruto replied, but because of this aura, he was not visible. A second later, his chakra simply disappeared, but then began to build up with terrifying force. A sharp flash, and another Naruto stood before them. His appearance changed. Naruto's hair became shoulder length, his windbreaker became black, his cloak turned white, and different symbols appeared on it. 6 symbols similar to the Sharingan Tomo appeared in the neck area. Naruto slowly began to open his eyes. It seems like everything went well, the blonde said. What's next, kid? He asked. And then I have a long and sad conversation with Sasuke, he's already here. Having said the last word, Naruto disappeared in a bright flash. At this time, in front of the building where the 5 Kage were meeting. You are all so pathetic, Amaterasu said the shinobi. The samurai squad was engulfed in black flames. You better run while I'm still kind. At that moment, a kunai charged with wind chakra flew over his head at incredible speed. Sasuke, life has taught you nothing. Look at who you've become like, thanks to your hatred. Who have you become, Uchiha? Naruto? Didn't recognize? Why you've changed. And he has changed a lot, I wonder if he has become stronger, thought Sasuke. And you haven't, except that you've become a little dumber, Naruto said mockingly. You've always been good at chatting, let's see how much stronger you've become. Kato, big fireball. Naruto quickly began to fold the seals. Sutton, great water dragon. The 2 techniques collided, creating a cloud of steam. I see you learned a couple of techniques, but it won't save you, Uzumaki, you'll die. You're naive, Sasuke. Don't get carried away. Amaterasu. Gakido, absorption. A dome formed around Naruto, which began to absorb the black flames that fell on him. What is this? What have you done? It's impossible. Sasuke was shocked. This is one of the 6 paths of my Rinnegan. What? Where did you get it? Uchiha would be shocked. But that doesn't concern you. I have no idea where you got these eyes from, but they won't save you. Susan! A purple skeleton began to appear around Sasuke, which soon began to grow muscles, and then armor appeared on it. Behold the true power of the Uchiha clan. Oh, you should take care of Sasuke's eyes, otherwise you'll go blind, Naruto said, opening his eyes. The eyes of God appeared before the Uchiha's gaze in all their glory. The warrior raised his huge sword and was about to strike Naruto with it. Shinra Tensei! Sasuke and his Susanoo flew back a couple dozen meters. Grr! I'll kill you, the brunette roared. Let's stop before we hurt each other. I need to talk to you. No! Susan's arrow. Futon, vacuum projectile. When they met, the technician had a big explosion. Sasuke was furious. He did not expect such power from Naruto. The blonde himself stood and hoped that his friend would calm down and they could talk. Sasuke, I beg you, let's talk. How did Madara clear your brains like that? Wake up, Uchiha. Because of your damned village, Itachi became a missing nin. Because of you, he killed the entire clan. I know the truth about Itachi, he is a hero. He wanted to protect the village and you until his death, idiot. What do you know? I understand a lot of things, but you don't see anything beyond your hatred. You've got me, see the full power of my hatred. Raiten, god of lightning. A huge electric snake flew out from behind the clouds, made a couple of circles above Sasuke, and rushed towards Naruto. So you don't want to talk, okay, let it be your way. Futon Katandotan, hounds of hell. Near Naruto, two creatures similar to huge tigers burst out from under the ground. They were made of lava, and on their surface there was a barely noticeable bluish glow of a futon. The Kage watching the battle were quite shocked. And so the two powerful techniques rushed towards each other. Sasuke's snake was fast thanks to lightning. Naruto's tigers were accelerated thanks to the wind. The technicians collided in the middle. A loud explosion thundered, and the field was covered in thick smoke. Damn, he's strong. No one has ever been able to stop my snake, Sasuke thought. Naruto appeared from the smoke. He was walking towards the Uchiha. When will you calm down? I don't want to fight with you. You're my damn best friend. I know. Then what's the problem? I must take revenge and now you are in my way. Having said this, Sasuke released Susanoo. You are very strong, I admit it, but I have also become stronger. Anton Chidori. The resulting silence was broken by the sound of 1,000 birds. A black flame burned inside the Chidori. Damn, when will he stop? Naruto thought. He was completely consumed by darkness. You're right, Kurama. Hermit's art, planetary Rasengan. A golden ball formed in Naruto's hand, around which 3 more, but smaller ones, were located. __. Their techniques are very powerful, S rank no less, said the Raikage. They would become an irreplaceable weapon in a war. Raikage. If you call Naruto a weapon even once more, I will personally check how strong your lightning armor is. Tsunade answered calmly. __. It's nostalgic, isn't it, Sasuke? Only our techniques have become stronger, and we're not in the Valley of the End. Enough chatter, but so be it. If you win, I will talk to you about what you wanted. Tempting. The two shinobi ran towards each other, holding destructive jutsu in their hands, and then their techniques touched. The valley was deafened by the explosion. No one could see if they were alive or not. The smoke cleared. Naruto and Sasuke stood opposite each other. The shinobi were slightly battered, but still ready to pounce on each other at any moment. Damn, my chakra is practically at 0. I can't lose to him so easily, thought Sasuke, and began to fold the seals. Stop it already, there's a war on the doorstep, and here he is showing off. Never! Tendo, heavenly pull! Sasuke quickly became attracted to Naruto. Seal technique, chakra extraction. The last thing Sasuke remembered was his chakra running low. Damn, I used my eyes for too long. Looks like 10 minutes is my limit. And I have to carry this on myself, Naruto said, and throwing Uchiha on his shoulder, went to the Kage. __. Sasuke woke up closer to noon the next day. Damn, where am I? Did I really lose to him? It's impossible. When did he become so strong? Oh, are you awake already? Dash. Now we can talk normally, right, Tima? Okay, I'll listen to you. So, where should I start? After defeating Nagato, I learned about their Eye of the Moon project. Akatsuki is collecting the tailed beasts and sealing them in the Geto statue. They are going to revive the 10 tails. 10 tails, but there seem to be only 9 of them. Initially, there was only 1, but after Rikudo divided its power into 9 parts. At the moment, I possess about 20% of the 10 tails' entire power. But what do you want from me? Help, only me and Hachibi are left. Madara will most likely declare war. Since we know about their plan, we can at least counter them with something. Naruto, the Kage is calling you and Sasuke Uchiha. The samurai ran into the room and rattled off. What's the urgency? Naruto asked. Uchiha Madara declared war on all 5 countries. Okay, we'll be there soon. So Sasuke, whose side will you choose, the eternal illusion and a normal, calm world? I will help you, or rather you. I want to understand why Itachi gave his life, and why he became a missing nin. Well, let's go to Kage and discuss everything there. Wait. 3 shinobi are approaching us. Judging by the chakra, they are Sakura, Hinata, and Shikamaru. But what are they doing here? Uchiha, have you ever teleported? No, why? Then get ready for your first flight. Naruto touched Sasuke and they disappeared in a white flash. __. We're already close, I feel the chakra, but… What is it, Hinata? Shikamaru said. I feel Sasuke's chakra there and something similar to Naruto's chakra, but it has increased many times over. Why are you here, Dash? What? Naruto? Don't scare us like that, we thought you were an enemy. Kiba exclaimed, and what the hell is Sasuke doing here? He's an enemy. Sasuke is no longer our enemy. Naruto replied. He is on our side. Naruto, you've changed a lot, what happened to you? Hinata said that your chakra has changed, said a shocked Shikamaru. All later, by the way, hi Hinata-chan, from Naruto's words, Hinata blushed deeply, and you became even more beautiful. Naruto, stop it or she'll faint. Sasuke whispered to his friend. So why are you here, Shikamaru? There are about 1,000 white idiots near Konoha. The strategist replied. Is it Zetsu, are they attacking? Sasuke asked. No, they are waiting for something. Sasuke, take them to the Kage and tell Grandma about our conversation, and I have to visit Konoha, said Naruto. Yeah. Uchiha answered with some displeasure. But it's a 5-day journey, said Kiba. Ha, you don't know much about me, Uzumaki said with a chuckle. What a pseudo-god. Uchiha, shut up, or I won't give you a rematch. You defeated Sasuke, said Kiba and Shikamaru. Naruto, you seem to be in a hurry, aren't you? Sasuke asked. Yes, I'm on my way, see you, Jakuken, instant teleport. Naruto disappeared in a white flash. Everyone standing there was in shock, including Sasuke. Let's go, let's not waste time, said the red-eyed man, and they set off. Kakashi, what are we going to do? Asked Guy. They started moving. I don't know, Guy NAV. He was cut off from finishing by a bright flash on the wall next to him, from which Naruto appeared. Hello Kakashi-sensei, I see you have problems. Naruto? Asked Kakashi, he didn't expect to see his student. Kato, great fire destruction. Naruto breathed out a huge wall of flames that rushed towards the white Zetsu. It burned everything in its path. After destroying half of the Zetsu, Naruto began to form another series of seals at an incredible speed. Futon, Typhoon. Katon, Fire Tornado. The rest of Zetsu was incinerated by a wind-powered fire tornado. How? Was the only thing that surprised Kakashi could squeeze out. Yes, I'm on my way, see you, Jakuken, instant teleport. Naruto disappeared in a white flash. Everyone standing there was in shock, including Sasuke. Let's go, let's not waste time, said the red-eyed man. Okay, stop. What happened? Asked Nara. Naruto seemed to say that he felt the chakra of Hinata, you and Sakura, but instead I see Kiba. Yes, initially we were moving in this composition, but 5 minutes before you appeared, Kiba and Akamaru came running to us. He and Shino had a mission, during which he was wounded and Sakura went to help him, said Shikamaru. As I understand it, Kiba left the wounded Shino alone? Well, Kiba tried to answer, but Sasuke interrupted him. Okay, it's none of my business, go ahead. Konoha. Why are you looking at me like that? Naruto asked, seeing the shinobi's shocked looks. Well, you just appeared out of nowhere, destroyed God knows how many of these creatures in a few seconds, and nothing special, Yamato said in a monotonous voice that was about to break into a scream. Well then I'll go, I have things to do. Stop right there. What's going on and what was that white herd here? Yamato couldn't stand it. I don't have time to explain everything, but I can say that the leader of the organization was not Pain, Uzumaki answered. Then who? Kakashi asked. He said that his name is Madara. Besides, he declared war in order to get the remaining Jinchuriki. A bird with a message will fly to you any minute, everything is written there. And now please excuse me, I have to go, Naruto said and disappeared. So that's how it all turned out, but Madara has been dead for a long time. Yamato is a lot of mystery in our world, so it's not surprising that he was resurrected. But I'm afraid we won't be able to cope with him, he is the strongest shinobi, said Kakashi. Country of Iron. So Naruto went to protect the village. Well, let's wait for his arrival, said Tsunade. So now you are on our side? I'm on Naruto's side, the Uchiha replied. Mission accomplished, the enemy eliminated, Naruto said, entering the room. Now we need to discuss a plan of action, said the Raikage. I suggest we hide your brother and Naruto in a safe place so that, Gaara began, but Naruto interrupted him. Yeah, right, they ran away. But. No buts, Gaara, I understand everything, but I have a plan of action. And what kind? Asked the Mizukage. You, as the heads of your villages, create a united army and begin to exterminate Setsu. Sasuke and I are searching for Madara, and I also want to warn you that Kabuto has joined him. This idiot implanted Orochimaru's cells into himself, and now looks like some kind of amphibian. I don't know what to expect from him, but you shouldn't underestimate him. There are still Kisame, Setsu the original, that's all I have for now. You've become smarter, Naruto, the Hokage said in a satisfied voice. I'll take it as a compliment. So Kage and the two shinobi discussed the plan of action for another half day, and towards evening they parted ways. Naruto and Sasuke walked down the corridor of the building, each thinking about something of their own. Are you sure this will work? Sasuke asked worriedly. It was the first time Uzumaki saw his friend, who was usually cold and unwavering, in such a state. What is it, team? Is the mask of indifference melting? Asked Naruto. I myself don't understand what's happening to me. After our fight it was as if I had a short circuit, the brunette answered with a hint of incomprehension. They continued walking in silence, interrupted by the sounds of footsteps. It looks like our Avenger has come to his senses, said the fox in Naruto's head. It looks like it, but it's even for the better, he's starting to understand that he was wrong. Maybe, we should practice? Uchiha asked his friend, hiding from his gaze. Sorry, Tima, let's do it later, I have urgent business, the blonde said, stopping. And what business, HM? Everything is clear with you, Uzumaki. Well then go, business does not wait, Altho. Uchiha, go to hell. Already, said the brunette, and headed towards the exit. Naruto stood still and didn't move. There was silence in the hallway. Hinata, come out, I know you're here. I want to talk to you, Naruto said into the void, turning around 180 degrees. Hinata. Why yes? The girl asked timidly. I want for you not to take part in the war, Naruto said, looking into Hinata's eyes. The kunoichi didn't expect such a request. She stood and looked at Uzumaki with a shocked and uncomprehending look. But why Naruto-kun? She didn't have time to finish. Her perishing Naruto. Because I can't lose another loved one. I just can't stand it. And Naruto. I love you. Hinata, Naruto said, looking tenderly into the girl's eyes. I love you. Hinata, Naruto said, looking tenderly into the girl's eyes. And Naruto, was the last thing Hinata managed to say before fainting. Hinata. Although, I expected such a reaction. She is so cute, we need to take her to the room, said Naruto, and taking the girl in his arms, wandered into the depths of the corridor. Having laid her on the bed, he admired her for a couple more minutes. Then Uzumaki went to look for Sasuke. He found him sitting on the porch of some hut, which was opposite the building where the Kage were sitting. Approaching him, Naruto sat down next to him and looked at the moon. You really know how to shock people, Naruto. I am the most unpredictable ninja after all, said the blonde, continuing to look at the moon. Silence fell. A couple of minutes later, Sasuke broke it. And how long have you loved her? No. I mean, yes, damn, it's hard to explain. Well, you try it. I can only say one thing. I'm an idiot, team. I felt something for her before, back in the academy, but I wrote it off as a friendly relationship. And only recently did I realize that it was love. I wanted to confess to her, but I couldn't. Sensei died, then the attack, during which she confessed to me, and when pain almost killed her, I went crazy. And that's why I confess to Hinata now, because I don't know what awaits me in the war. Naruto answered. And as I understand it, you asked her not to participate in the war? I had no choice. I might not be able to keep an eye on her on the battlefield. If something happens to her, I won't survive. I lost my parents when I was a baby. Yes, they are heroes, but sometimes, damn, I don't want them to be. How I want them to be alive. I miss them. Then I got a mentor, who turned out to be my godfather, the damn pervert. Naruto chuckled sadly. But I lost him too. He died in battle with his student, Pain. If I lose her too, then that's the end. And you idiot, ran away, you miserable avenger. Shut up, Uzumaki, I thought I knew you well. But it turns out that I don't know a damn thing about you. Now I'm starting to understand that in some ways it was harder for you. You grew up an orphan, not knowing who your parents were. You'd only find someone close to you, and then you'd lose them, Sasuke said with a hint of sadness. Thank you, Tima. So they sat until late at night, talking about life and the upcoming battles. Naruto made Sasuke promise to return to the village in case of victory in the war. Uchiha, of course, was against it, but gave in and promised to think about it. Early in the morning, Naruto decided to visit Hinata. Entering the room, he found that Hinata was still asleep. Sitting on a chair not far from the bed, the blonde began to wait for her to wake up, watching her at the same time. At this time, Sakura arrived at the headquarters with Shino. The expression on her face when she saw Sasuke is indescribable. As Sasuke? Hello, Sakura. What the hell are you doing here? It's none of your business. Sakura's eyes began to well up with tears. I'm here at Naruto's request. Naruto? Is he here too? Where is he? He's busy now, he has an important matter, the brunette said with a grin. We'll talk later, when Dobe appears, but for now I need to train. Especially since the Hokage is most likely waiting for you. Okay, but you both explain everything to me, whether you want it or not, Sakura said and headed towards the building. And she's gotten prettier. Damn, Uchiha, what are you thinking about? You need to kick Uzumaki's ass first, thought Sasuke. At this time, in one of the rooms of the headquarters, Hinata woke up and began to slowly open her eyes. Just a dream. Hinata's POV. I love you, Hinata. What? He loves me. It can't be. And Naruto. No, just not now, don't faint. NPOV Hinata. Already woken up. Hinata slowly began to turn her head towards the voice. Naruto was sitting not far from her. So it wasn't a dream. No, this is not a dream. I really love you and I don't want you to take part in the war. God, I'm so happy. I love you too, Naruto. Hinata said happily and threw herself on Naruto's neck. They stood like that for a long time, admiring each other. But why shouldn't I? I want to. No. I won't survive if something happens to you. And even if you're against it, I still won't let you go there. But an explosion outside didn't let her finish. Damn, said the blonde, and they disappeared in a white flash. What the? Sasuke said and headed towards the explosion. At that moment, another explosion occurred, but of lesser force. Naruto and Sasuke were the first to appear at the scene of the explosion and were shocked. Hinata did not understand what was wrong with them. You, the shinobi said at the same time. Apparently they haven't forgotten me yet, that makes me happy, Uchiha, and judging by your eyes, you're a Hyuga. The shinobi's gaze stopped on Naruto. And judging by your eyes. Uzumaki. What does this have to do with eyes and his clan? Uchiha didn't understand. Because only Uchiha and Uzumaki are able to control Rinnegan. At that moment, the Kage arrived to them, and they were shocked. It can't be. That Tsuchikage was the most shocked of all. Uchiha Madara. Naruto continued his sentence. Uchiha Madara. In front of the shinobi stood a legend, the strongest shinobi after Hashirama Senju, the embodiment of strength, the strongest of the Uchiha. Madara stood casually. He did not consider them strong opponents except for Naruto and Sasuke. They caused some kind of incomprehensible feeling in him. He understood that they could become a thorn and interfere with the implementation of the plan. Therefore, he put them at the top of the list of those who need to be killed. Then he turned his gaze to the 5 Kage and said with disdain, Obito and I decided that we shouldn't wait until you start attacking and destroying the main military potential and the command of the United Army. Only now I will add 2 more shinobi to the list, Madara said arrogantly. How do I understand it's me and Sasuke? Asked Naruto. You're right, kid. Well, Naruto said and took a step forward. As soon as his foot landed, the ground cracked, and a strong chakra pressure was felt in the air. Sigi mode, rise of the 6 paths. Naruto glowed yellow. Like in Bijou mode, black spheres the size of Rasengan began to appear one after another behind his back. A pattern in the form of 6 tomo began to appear on his cloak. His hair grew a little and turned pale. Ha! I didn't appreciate you enough, kid, said Madara, jumping away from Uzumaki. Everyone was surprised and did not hide it. They looked at Naruto with their mouths open. Taking another step, Uzumaki disappeared from view and moved behind Madara, and tried to strike with a Rasengan. The Uchiha foresaw this move and therefore easily dodged. This will be an interesting fight. Everyone, go to a safe distance and don't interfere with the fight, yes, and you Sasuke, don't forget our plan, said the blonde. Sasuke reluctantly left the battlefield. They stood and looked at each other, Naruto and Madara. Suddenly they began to quickly fold seals. Katan, fire destruction. The Uchiha named the technique. Suten, the Great Flood. The 2 terrifying techniques collided, creating a huge cloud of steam, through which no one could be seen. The shinobi watching the battle heard only the clanking of metal and the sparks that were struck. Katan, Great Fire Dragon. The Uchiha and Uzumaki techniques shouted simultaneously. There was an explosion of terrifying power, the shock wave of which not only dispersed all the steam, but also reached the observers. When everyone looked towards the fighting shinobi, they were shocked. Madara was in Susanoo, who stood and held 4 swords. Naruto went into full Bijou mode and was in the head of the 9 tails, formed from chakra. And you are a selenium guy. Heh. But this is the end. Susanoo, demonic spear. Shouting the technique, Madara jumped up together with Susanoo. Something resembling a spear began to form in Susanoo's hand. Bijou bomb. The shinobi are about to launch their techniques into battle. A couple of seconds passed and the shinobi's techniques broke loose and flew towards each other at great speed. Another second and the techniques would meet, but before that everyone heard Naruto's cry, Seal Technique, Great Barrier. An unthinkable explosion filled the valley. If it weren't for the barrier that Uzumaki had set up a split second before the explosion, the consequences would have been dire. Having dispelled the modes, Naruto dropped to one knee, breathing heavily. Although he was strong, he was not omnipotent. The techniques that the shinobi used were far behind S-rank techniques. His chakra, even with Kurama and the rest of the Bijou, was practically at 0. His right hand was slightly burned, his right eye was bleeding slightly, but basically he was intact, albeit a little battered. After all, this is the first time he has used this regime, and he doesn't know all its pros and cons. I so knew you were resurrected with the help of Edo Tensei, Naruto said, breathing heavily. Yes, you are right. You have amazed me, Uzumaki. For the first time I will retreat, but not because I can lose. I was summoned from that world not with all my power, so we will fight when I am resurrected with the power of Rinnegan. Then I will show you the full power of Uchiha Madara. Are there any other owners of Rinnegan? Yes, he is a hermit and from the land of rivers. Obito accidentally came across him. He is already ready to do it, and if he changes his mind, I will force him, and then we will fight at full strength. But for now, gain strength, train your Rinnegan. And yes, respected Kage, I want to do you a favor. We will begin the offensive in 2 days, said Madara and disappeared. Naruto tried to get up, but suddenly felt a sharp pain in his eyes and throughout his body. He wanted to scream, but only an incomprehensible wheeze came out. The light faded before his eyes, he fell into darkness. Naruto woke up only in the morning of the next day. His body still hurt, especially his eyes. Having discovered a bandage on his eyes, he tried to take it off, but every movement was followed by pain throughout his body. Having somehow removed the bandage, Naruto began to open his eyes. The sensations at that moment were not pleasant. Looking around the room he was in, Uzumaki noticed Hinata, peacefully sleeping on a chair next to him. She was next to me all this time. Kurama, the blonde called mentally to the fox. But he did not respond. Kurama! Silence in response. Deciding not to wait for an answer, he went down into the subconscious. Everything was the same here, the same stone walls, pipes under the ceiling from which water was dripping, except that there was none on the floor. The fox was peacefully snoring in the middle of the huge room. Kurama! Stop sleeping! Naruto shouted, but the fox seemed not to hear him. Kurama! Get up, you tattered rug! He yelled. Why? So! Tear it away! The fox thundered, raising his tone with each word, which eventually broke into a scream. I called you normally, but no, it was difficult for you, sir, to answer right away, said Uzumaki. What do you want from me this time? What happened after I passed out? I don't remember myself. I passed out almost immediately after you. I see. We only have 2 days. I can't really manage the regime and Rinnegan. There's not much time. In principle, we should have time. Not should, but must. Only this regime together with Rinnegan eats up a lot of chakra. I don't last long. Yes, I noticed, but I have one thought. State it. In general, if you try to combine the Sage mode and the Hermit mode, you can collect nature chakra with clones. Even during a fight, it's risky but possible. What do you think? Can you restore me quickly? There is little time and a lot needs to be done. Fine. Coming out of the subconscious, Naruto found that his chakra was quickly returning to normal, and his body and eyes stopped hurting. Getting out of bed so as not to wake Hinata, he put on his windbreaker and carefully picked her up in his arms and placed her on the bed, kissing her on the forehead. Hinata winced slightly, but smiled sweetly and continued her sleep. Without wasting a minute, Naruto moved outside, where he saw Uchiha, who, as the blonde himself understood, wanted to add lightning to the Rasengan. How did he understand this? Here's the picture. Sasuke is standing, his clothes are slightly scorched, burns are visible on the ground and on the nearby trees, as if from a lightning strike. Sakura is sitting about 30 meters away from him and anxiously watching him suffer. And again Sasuke creates a Rasengan in one hand, and with the other slowly, as if defusing a bomb, supplies lightning chakra into the sphere and then... Uchiha! Naruto yelled. Sasuke, not expecting this, jerked and lost control of the sphere. It exploded right in his hand, completely hiding the brunette in smoke. At this time, Shikamaru, Kiba and Hinata came out into the street. Seeing what happened, they wanted to rush to help, but when the smoke cleared, they began to laugh. Sasuke stood all black, holding his hands in the same way as when creating the technique, staring in shock where the sphere had been a minute ago. His face was completely covered in soot. Uzumaki, you bastard! I'll kill you! Having shouted the last word, he rushed to attack, but was immediately stopped by a stream of water created by Naruto. Cool your ardor. Sasuke, you seem to be smarter than me and you should understand that lightning chakra is not stable and adding it to the Rasengan won't work. Try adding fire. But not a Mataratsu. Do I look like an idiot, Anton? Add it to the Rasengan? Asked Sasuke. Not much, but that's not the point. The main task now is to have time to fulfill our plan. We'll set out with you tomorrow morning, but for now I have to try out one technique, said the shinobi. Yes, I remember. Sasuke answered somewhat gloomily. What's the plan? Shikamaru asked. I can't say yet, the blonde replied. But Naruto-kun, you haven't fully recovered yet. Hinata ran up to him. Naruto walked up to her, hugged her around the waist and kissed her tenderly. Everyone was out of it, except for Sasuke. Reluctantly tearing himself away from the kunoichi, he said, "Everything is fine, sunshine, don't worry, the fox has completely restored me." Hinata returned to her friends red as a lobster. Having moved a little further, Naruto sat down on the ground, crossing his legs and began to accumulate nature chakra. Everyone did not take their eyes off him, and waited for what would happen next. Having accumulated enough chakra, Naruto stood up and made a concentration seal. Sage Mode, the rise of the six paths. The shinobi's appearance remained the same as last time, except for the eyes. The Toad Hermit's mark was visible on them, and the Renegade became a little lighter. "Ha! Kurama, you're a genius!" the blonde said out loud. "Along with the Hermit Mode, my senses and speed have increased. Try using some technique based on wind or flame chakra, just don't forget about the barrier," said the fox. The Art of Seals, the Three-Hedged Barrier. Art of the Sage, Supernova. Something unimaginable began to form in Naruto's hand. Art of the Sage, Supernova. A sphere began to form in Naruto's hands. It emitted a very bright glow, and quite a lot of heat emanated from it. Having reached the size of about a raisin-gan, it stopped growing. Streams began to form around it, like with a raisin-gan. The sphere resembled a star, namely the sun. Everyone was fascinated by the sight. They were attracted by the beauty of this technique, but they did not yet know what it was capable of. How beautiful! Surprisingly, Hinata was the first. "What kind of technique is this?" "This technique is called supernova, or simply supernova. It is based on the fusion of three elements: wind, fire, and lightning." Yes, I do not argue that the technique is really beautiful, but its power is even more striking. At this stage I can still control it well, but the second is complete uncontrolled chaos. Also, this technique cannot be used as a regular Rasengan, otherwise you will blow up along with the enemy. To use it I studied space-time jutsu. "Naruto, what is this technique?" asked Tsunade, who had just arrived. The other Kage were also interested in the technique. As I said, this is a supernova. There are two varieties of this technique. The first one you are seeing now, its power is comparable to a small bijou bomb. The second one is an absolute, uncontrollable explosion of pure energy. To use it, you will have to sacrifice your life. After Naruto's words, everyone was in deep shock. Yes, Sasuke. I tried to use clones. They are not able to hold it even with 4 of them. Realizing that Sasuke was going to ask, Naruto gave him an answer. As I believe, a kilometer from here there is a training ground. Heh? Naruto teleported to the training ground. He tilted his hand down, and the technique simply flew off his hand and began to hover in the air. After a couple of seconds, it began to glow brighter and rapidly decrease in size. Teleporting back to his friends, Naruto smiled predatorily and, making a concentration seal, said, "Explosion!" The sky above the training ground was illuminated by a blinding flash of light, which seemed to be visible a couple of dozens of meters away from them. Then there was an explosion of extraordinary power. The ground under the shinobi's feet shook slightly. They did not know what to say. This technique amazed them. Its power was beyond their combined techniques. It was a weapon that could blow to hell any village the size of Konoha or Kumo in a couple of seconds. I see you are amazed. The first time I was also very surprised by its power. I was looking at the beauty of the explosion in flight, when I was thrown back by the shock wave, Naruto said smiling. But then he suddenly became serious. Now imagine what the second level of this technique can do, or as I called it, supernova, star explosion. The radius of destruction of the first level is about 500-700 meters, the second level is 1 to 3 kilometers, not alarming. These techniques cannot be used by Naruto, and you understand this. You can accidentally hit a shinobi with them, Gaara said. Yes, I understand that. But if Madara is resurrected and revives the Ten-Tails, then... What? Naruto-kun? Asked Hinata. Then I will use Starfall on them, Naruto said without taking his eyes off the girl. With his words, the blonde plunged them into even greater shock. They stood like statues digesting his words. Hinata's tears involuntarily began to flow. Sasuke was the first to come to his senses. He approached Uzumaki and grabbed him by the lapels, saying, "Decided to play the hero? Just try to hint about it even once and I'll kill you myself, then resurrect Edo Tensei, and kill you again until you understand. Sasuke began to shout. And what if I don't have a choice, huh? That I'll have to choose either me or you. What do you think I'll choose? And what would each of you do in my place? This is a war, damn it, anything can happen. Pushing Uchiha away from himself, Naruto saw Hinata crying. His heart sank. He slowly approached her, hugged her tenderly. He began to wipe away her tears. Forgive me, Naruto said. You won't use that technique, will you? We can help, no need to sacrifice yourself. The girl said, starting to cry again. Hugging Hina, Naruto said. I promise that I won't use this technique. I'll look for another way out of the situation, said the blonde. Oh, Naruto Uzumaki, it's not good to lie, the fox said in Naruto's head. Ignoring the fox's words, the shinobi moved away from the girl a little. Taking her hands, he asked, Maybe we should go for a walk? I don't mind, the kunoichi answered, stuttering slightly and blushing. We haven't finished speaking, Uzumaki. Sasuke flared up. Naruto slowly turned to Sasuke, while putting his right hand forward. Everyone present thought that he wanted to use some technique on him, but no, from what happened, even Sasuke's eye twitched. Uzumaki, stretching his hand forward, simply showed Uchiha the finger, and with the words, Sorry Sasachika, disappeared into Shunshin along with Hinata. Uzumaki, you're dead, the angry brunette shouted into the void. Naruto and Hinata moved to the shore of the lake, not far from the headquarters. Tomorrow it all starts, Naruto said. I'm scared, Naruto-kun. Don't be afraid, Hinata, everything will be fine, I will protect you and everyone. You will be located at headquarters and will not take part in military operations. But why? I trained, I'm not weak. I know that, but I'm still worried about you. Naruto-ke. Naruto, nothing will happen to me. Uzumaki wanted to resist, but he couldn't. He understood that it was useless. Approaching her, the blonde hugged the girl. Okay, but be careful. In response, the girl only pressed herself closer to Naruto. So they walked until late in the evening. They simply enjoyed each other's company, sat and watched the sunset. They talked about everything in the world, remembered the time when they were children. None of them wanted tomorrow, because tomorrow everything will change. Perhaps it is not even possible, but most likely someone will die. Tomorrow, not the most joyful events await them, which cannot be avoided. They will fight for their happy future, they cannot lose, otherwise the world will fall. Naruto was physically ready for battle, but not mentally. He knew that if something went wrong, he would have to sacrifice himself, and he would do it without even flinching. He would take Madara and the Ten Tails with him to the grave. The only thing that stopped him was Hinata. He couldn't leave her. In the morning, he and Sasuke would go to the front line before everyone else. Yes, the blonde didn't tell this to Kage. These two decided that until the alliance arrived, they would do everything they could to hold back the two Uchiha, so that they wouldn't revive this monster. What can I say? The most stupid act, thoughtless, but there was no other way. But that would come tomorrow, and this evening and night belonged entirely to them. After sitting until late at night, they moved to the headquarters. After seeing Hinata to her room, Naruto kissed the girl and said, I love you. You are the most precious thing I have. Take care of yourself. I love you too, Naruto. Be careful. Uzumaki headed to the roof. He didn't want to sleep, and he wouldn't have fallen asleep anyway. Having climbed up to the roof, he found Sasuke there, who was looking somewhere into the distance, not even noticing the appearance of his friend. Team can't get enough sleep? No. I see you too. Yes. I'm wondering if we can handle it or not. In that fight, when I fought Madara, I gave it my all. But if he told the truth, then this body, or rather corpse, in short, it doesn't matter, it limits his strength. I don't know if we can handle it or not, plus he'll have that idiot in the mask with him. What's wrong with you, Uzumaki? I don't recognize you. Somewhere is that self-confident show-off that I know. Why are you so upset? We can handle it, we have to. Yes, you're right, we will win at any cost, and then I will become Hokage. Naruto shouted in his usual manner. And you'll marry Hinata, Sasuke added in an innocent voice. Yes, and that, of course. The blonde man dreamed. And you had it, well, there in the forest, Uchiha added casually. Yeah. Naruto answered automatically, not understanding the question, but then the gist of it dawned on him. Team! Shut up, there was no such thing. What are you laughing at, you bastard? Sasuke was screaming wildly while rolling on the roof, which was clearly not like him. Why, you said it yourself, ah ha ha, Sasuke tried to squeeze out, continuing to laugh. Well, that's it, you're done for, red-eyed. Naruto shouted, forming a Rasengan in his hand and rushing towards Sasuke. They ran like that for almost an hour, until they got tired of it. They lay on the roof, looking at the sky. No one said a word. Today they were allowed everything, because tomorrow a difficult and far from happy day awaits them. Tomorrow they will enter into battle with the most dangerous enemy. The further fate of the world is only in their hands. They slept there on the roof. Morning came, the weather was cloudy, it was raining, just right for the situation. Two shinobi moved through the forest at a wild speed. They didn't care about the weather. They were approaching their goal and nothing could stop them. Naruto and Sasuke moved in complete silence. No one said a word during the movement. Everyone was thinking about something of their own. And now, they had to overcome a couple of kilometers and they would enter the battle. Is Sasuke ready? Even if not, it doesn't change anything. Having reached their goal, the shinobi jumped out onto a large clearing, where they were already awaited. They found themselves a couple dozen meters from the enemy. Madara stood before them, the living Madara. The man in the mask was nowhere to be seen. It was as if the Uchiha knew that they would come together, without waiting for the alliance. I was waiting for you, said the legend of the shinobi world and the founder of the village hidden in the leaves. Where is the second one? You're talking about Obito, he went after Hachibi. Damn, this isn't according to plan. Naruto thought indignantly to himself. It doesn't change anything, I'll take the Kyuubi chakra from you. You can't win, Naruto said, forming a Rasen shuriken in his hand. You can't win, Naruto said, forming a Rasen shuriken in his hand. You think you can defeat me? Ha, naive fools. Only Hashirama could defeat me, but he's long dead, so you're finished, Madara said. Don't underestimate us. Naruto shouted, Futon, Rasen shuriken. The technique quickly flew towards the Uchiha, but before it reached even a meter, it was absorbed. And that's all? Madara asked mockingly. Sage mode, rise of the six paths. I see you decided to play for high stakes? Why doesn't the young Uchiha attack? Madara was distracted by Sasuke. Meanwhile, Naruto teleported straight to Madara, simultaneously forming a Rasengan. The founder easily blocked this blow and was just about to send him flying when Uchiha came to his friend's rescue. Chidori! But this blow was also unsuccessful, and the two shinobi were sent flying. It's not interesting with you, but I'll teach you a lesson. Lesson 1 Taijutsu. Madara rushed at them with a furious speed. Hand-to-hand combat began, in which Sasuke and Naruto were not inferior to each other, but were noticeably inferior to Uchiha. The fight did not last long. They were able to inflict a couple of weak blows on Uchiha, but this was not enough. They themselves took a fair amount of damage. Having jumped back a couple of dozen meters, Madara began to quickly fold the seals. Lesson 2. Katon, the Great Fire Dragon. A huge dragon flew at Naruto and Sasuke, which was about to fall on them. Suten, Great Water Dragon. Naruto shouted the name of the technique. Raiten, Panther. Sasuke and Naruto's techniques merged, forming something incomprehensible. When they met, the techniques exploded with a huge explosion. Smoke and dust from the explosion filled the space. The shinobi again converged in taijutsu, strike, block, sweep, strike. Occasionally flying sheaves of sparks were visible, from blows of a kunai or sword. They fought not for life, but to the death they fought. For a bright future. The battle did not last long. The shinobi jumped in different directions, from the place of the battle folding seals. Mokutan, revival of the forest. Madara shouted. Anton, god of fire. Futon, great impensive. The combined technique flew towards Madara's emerging technique. The shinobi technique began to mercilessly burn the trees. Madara underestimated his opponents and decided to act seriously. Absolute Susanoo. Behold the true power of the Sharingan. Susanoo was just huge, Naruto, even though he imagined that he was strong, but this was too much. Susanoo. Cover of Biju. Opposite Madara stood Naruto, who was in the nine-tailed form, and Sasuke and Susanoo. Although Uchiha was able to create him standing on two legs, he was only covered in muscles. What is so impressive? You are strong but not strong enough, so you will not live. Madara said loudly, Tendo, punishment of God. It was beyond the comprehension of our heroes. Even in them it instilled horror. They stood in a state of shock, unable to move. From a great height, dispersing the clouds, a huge block was flying towards them. In size it was comparable to a small village. The meteorite was rapidly falling on our heroes. Naruto, what are we going to do? This is already a different level. Despite the situation, Sasuke asked calmly. Fight. Naruto answered shortly and began to form a tailed beast bomb. Uchiha decided to use Susanoo's arrow. Here the Biju bomb has reached colossal sizes. Sasuke, come on, let's launch at the same time. The blonde shouted. Yeah. In a couple of seconds their techniques were heading towards the meteor. Another couple of seconds and they would meet. At this time, not far from the battle site, there were shinobi. Just let them catch my eye. I'll kill them both. Tsunade said menacingly. The 5 Kage and several shinobi moved towards the battle. Hinata, do you see them? Asked Gaara. Yes, The girl stopped abruptly and fell silent, looking at the sky. What is it? Tsunade asked. This is incredible. What is going on there? Said Hyuga. Everyone turned their gaze to where Hinata was looking. To say that they were shocked is to say nothing. Not far from them, a boulder was falling down. What the hell is going on there? Asked the Reikage. Something is approaching this thing, Hinata said, recovering from her shock. It's definitely a Biju bomb, they said. So they are there, said the Mizukage, who had been silent until then. The technicians were rapidly approaching their target, only seconds left before they would touch. A bright flash illuminated the area, an explosion of unprecedented force was heard. The shock wave evaporated all the clouds in an instant, part of it rushed towards the fighting shinobi, it demolished trees and small rocks in its path. The technicians were rapidly approaching their target, only seconds left before they would touch. A bright flash illuminated the area, an explosion of unprecedented force was heard. The shock wave evaporated all the clouds in an instant, part of it rushed towards the fighting shinobi, it demolished trees and small rocks in its path. The devil might catch us. The Reikage shouted, lightning barrier. The group of shinobi were surrounded by a blue barrier. As soon as it appeared, they were hit by a shock wave. The area around the explosion was covered in smoke and dust. Futon, rust. The cloud of smoke and dust was instantly dispersed by gusts of wind. 3 badly battered shinobi stood on the battlefield. Naruto and Sasuke didn't have any serious wounds since he covered them with his Susanoo at the last moment, but his clothes were slightly damaged. It was almost the same with Madara. His arm was injured. Yes, it was in vain that I underestimated you, said the elder Uchiha. At that moment Obito materialized next to him. The job is done, we can begin, he said. Did you capture Hachibi? No, Madara-sama, he escaped, but got some of his chakra. Also, the 2 resurrected clouds somehow had the Kyuubi's chakra. And someone killed Kabuto and stopped Edo Tense, said the mask maker. It doesn't matter. He didn't have time to finish speaking before Naruto interrupted him. Where did they get Kurama's chakra? Ask your pet, Madara answered. Apparently it was Kinkaku and Ginkaku. When I was free, I swallowed them and they began, as stupid as it may sound, to eat me from the inside, so apparently my chakra was transferred to them, the fox said in his subconscious. Damn! This is very bad! And now, summoning technique, Gedo Mazo, shouted the founder of the sheet. From the clouds of smoke a statue appeared. It looked like it was made of wood, it had 10 open eyes, and Madara was standing on its shoulder. From this moment on, you have lost, Madara said, and for a moment he and the statue disappeared. In front of them stood another Madara. I will not describe, he looked like in the manga. He became the sage of 6 paths, like Naruto. At this time, a group of shinobi arrived to our heroes. Naruto, the angry Tsunade began. Now is not the time or place, Grandma, Sasuke and Kage. You take on the mask wearer, he is strong, especially judging by the chakra. White Setsu is approaching here and another shinobi. I don't know him, but he is very strong. The alliance will be here soon too. The hell with NAR, the blonde interrupted the Uchiha. Sasuke, this battle is no longer your level and far beyond the level of Kage. God knows, I didn't want to use this power. Uzumaki made a concentration seal. The art of the sage, removing the chapel, the seal of God. A sharp and strong burst of chakra made the shinobi retreat. Almost nothing had changed in the shinobi, except for his appearance. He was covered in golden chakra. 6 Gautama were flaunted behind him. In his hand he held the Rikudo staff. 2 small horns appeared on his forehead. You're not just a simple kid, said Madara. Enough words, we are waiting for. Naruto suddenly disappeared. No one noticed it. They saw when he hit Uchiha in the back with a Rasengan. Fight. Madara didn't even have time to blink when he received a blow and was sent flying. You bastard, Madara said angrily, standing up. Do you mind if we fight away from them? Naruto asked, ignoring his words. Okay if. Uzumaki did not let Madara finish. Suddenly moving towards him, he grabbed his face with his hand and teleported. Everyone stood silently looking at where the shinobi had just been. Now they understood that Naruto was right and this was not their level. The Kage felt weak compared to them. Now they had to fight the masked one, the army of White Setsu and an unknown shinobi. They moved 2 kilometers further, namely, to the Valley of Completion. Madara was furious. You're lucky, brat, that I can't fully control all my power. It's only a matter of time, so prepare to die. I can tell you the same, you will not destroy this world. The shinobi rushed at each other, raising their weapons to strike. Uchiha used a katana, and Naruto a staff. Strike, another strike. They were only visible when they crossed their weapons. The shinobi's movements were very fast. Only orange and white flashes were visible. They jumped away from each other. This will be a decisive battle, a battle on which the fate of this world depends. And you will lose in it, Uzumaki. Naruto. You talk a lot, Madara. I will not lose for anything and will not retreat, said Naruto, folding the seals. Ha! Such strong words. And are you sure you can follow them? Don't doubt it. Ranton, Sky Dragon. On Mayatan, Black Hole. A dragon appeared from behind the clouds, completely black in color. It inspired fear and horror in those who saw it. It felt like the Lord of the Heavens himself had descended to earth. Having appeared from behind the clouds, the dragon froze and looked closely at Madara, who stood and did not move. Naruto did not see the Uchiha's technique and thought that he had failed, but he was too happy. A small black ball appeared above the dragon. Just a couple of seconds later, this ball exploded or burst. Naruto did not hear the sound of the explosion, but what the shinobi saw shocked him. After the explosion, this ball transformed into a funnel and began to suck in the dragon with great force and speed. Not even a minute passed and the dragon was absorbed, and the funnel disappeared. The blonde was furious. He did not understand what to do next. Although there is a lot of chakra, it is not unlimited. You do understand that our forces are almost equal and there is no point in continuing this fight. We still couldn't hurt each other much. Are we going to fight until our chakra runs out? Or are we going to put all our chakra into the last technique and decide everything at once? Said Madara. You're right, it's time to end this, but first we need to put up a barrier so that we won't be interrupted. Agree. Second battlefield. The Kage and the Shinobi Alliance destroyed Zetsu and captured the Mask Maker. The unknown shinobi turned out to be B, who had somehow altered the nature of his chakra. It seems to me that Naruto took Madara on himself on purpose. He knew that we would defeat them all, Tsunade said. At this time, a huge black electric dragon appeared in the sky above the forest. It's the element of storm, the Raikage said in shock. A few seconds later, the dragon was sucked into some kind of black funnel. We need to hurry to help him before he does something stupid. These techniques are far beyond S rank, and his chakra won't last long, said Uchiha. Yes, we need to help Naruto-kun, said Hinata. Wait for us, we will help you. You don't have to suffer for everyone. I will share this burden with you. At that moment, a bright purple barrier of no small size rose above the forest. I don't like this, we need to hurry. Naruto, don't even think about using this technique, thought Shikamaru. Art of the Sage, Large four-sided barrier, Madara and Naruto said in unison. The barrier began to appear quickly. Well, shall we finish this? Yeah, Naruto answered. He understood that the fate of the whole world depended on this attack. He understood that after this technique he might not see his friends, his sworn brother, and her. It made his soul sad, hurt. But there was no choice, he would go to the end, because that was his ninja path and he would follow it. Concentrating, Uzumaki began to form the technique. A bright yellow ball began to form in his hand. It emitted enormous energy. Gradually the sphere began to increase. Madara had it a little differently. In his hand he formed a ball as black as night. In a circle there were rings located at different angles, like Menma in the 9th film. Idiot, what are you doing? Stop! Sasuke, who had just run up, started shouting. He couldn't get close. The barrier was holding him back. Uzumaki, stop! Now it was Tsunade who said it. I'm sorry, but this is my choice. I can't back down, but I'm glad to see you now, perhaps for the last time, Naruto said, smiling sadly. Naruto, stop, don't sacrifice yourself, we'll think of something, we'll defeat him together, the Uchiha begged his friend. Naruto-kun, you promised me, Hinata said, crying. This made the blonde feel uneasy. Something inside him snapped. I'm sorry, Hinata, I didn't keep my promise, but know that I will always be there, I will remain in your heart. I love you. And Naruto-kun. Are you ready, Madara? For a long time. I've been waiting for you to finish your farewell speech. The two shinobi prepared for the final attack. They suddenly rushed at each other, raising their techniques for a strike. Stop! Sasuke shouted, but Naruto didn't hear anyone anymore. The shinobi were rapidly approaching each other. A little more and they would meet. Each shinobi who saw this felt hatred for himself, because they could not help him in any way, but at the same time they felt a small share of joy that they had such a loyal friend and comrade. There were those shinobi who felt fear and mental pain. These were Tsunade, Gaara, Sasuke, Sakura and Hinata. Here their techniques touched. Two shinobi disappeared from sight. Because of a bright flash, an explosion thundered, simply of monstrous force. The barrier began to crack but withstood this pressure. A flash, the last thing Naruto saw before his mind left him, and then darkness. What is war? War. How much pain, bitterness, loneliness, and death this word carries. This malicious, all-consuming and destructive force brings with it a lot of grief, suffering, and spiritual emptiness. War is an event that must not only be experienced, but also understood. It not only destroys, but often leads to the unification of the people. Know that war is next to it pain, death, and separation. Know that this is war and death is not your friend. War is pain, loss, death, suffering, but what is peace then? Peace is the native land, family, love, close people. Peace is the absence of war. Peace is a calm, quiet interval between wars. This war took a few lives of shinobi, but the pain and suffering were enormous. They won this war thanks to their courage, valor, and unity. Shinobi united against a formidable enemy. Despite past disagreements, they were united in the face of the enemy. They won thanks to him. He instilled hope in their hearts, faith in the future, not allowing fear to take hold of them. He is a hero. 5 years have passed since the end of the war. In Konoha the weather was simply great. It was summer. Everything was blooming and smelling, but this day was special. On this day the war ended. Almost the entire village came to honor the memory of the heroes. Closer to lunch, people went off to do their daily business. Tsunade left the post of Hokage. Now Hatake Kakashi took this position. Sasuke, as promised, returned to the village. He became a jonin. Everything was quiet, peaceful, calm. Everyone more or less adapted after the war, everyone except her. Hinata has changed in these 5 years. There on the battlefield, she lost everything. Love, the meaning of life, she lost him. She constantly dreams of this moment at night, the last moment when she saw him, his smile and a lonely tear rolling down his cheek, and at this she wakes up and begins to cry. Today was no exception. But not only the brunette yearned for Naruto, Sasuke, although impenetrable and cold, but in his soul he was very sad and reproached himself for not being able to stop his friend, brother. In the center of the village, a monument was erected to him as a hero who saved the village and the entire world. It bore the inscription, Naruto Uzumaki, son of Namikaze Minato and Kushina Uzumaki, hero who saved the village and the shinobi world. He gave his life for the sake of peace which we must preserve. Naruto Uzumaki, Hokage of Konoha village, posthumously. Every day, in the evening, his friends came to honor the memory of their friend. Border of the Land of Fire. A lone silhouette moved through the forest towards Konoha. He was dressed in a black cloak almost to the floor, his face was hidden by a hood, in his left hand he held a cane. Soon, very soon, said the unknown man and continued on his way. Konoha Hokage's office. There were 4 shinobi standing in the office, among them were Sakura, Sasuke, Hinata and Shikamaru. You 4 have an S-rank mission. You must find a shinobi. He was seen in almost all countries, but it was impossible to verify who he was. The unknown person kept slipping away. The last time he was seen was on the border of fire. Presumably he is moving towards Konoha. We do not know with what intentions this person is moving here, said the Hokage. But why is the mission so high-ranked? Maybe this person is just a wanderer and travels around the world, said Sakura. Everything would be fine, but this traveler's chakra is so strong that it is comparable to an entire army of shinobi, maybe more, we don't know for sure. We only know that he is dressed in a long black cloak, his face is covered by a hood, in his left hand he holds a cane. You must find him and learn about his intentions. Proceed quickly. Yes, the shinobi answered in unison. An hour later they were already moving towards the border. Who could it be? Asked the pink-haired girl. I don't know, Sakura, but he's very strong according to Kakashi, Sasuke answered. Hinata, check where he is. Okay. Byakugan. At 4 o'clock, about 2 kilometers away. It can't be. What is it? Sakura asked. It looks like he noticed us. How is this possible? Shikamaru asked. I don't know, but he's looking in our direction, as if he's waiting for us to arrive. That's weird, Sasuke said. A couple of minutes later, a group of shinobi came to the edge of the forest, where he was already waiting for them. Who are you? And why are you moving to Konoha? Nara asked straight away. I want to return to my native land. The shinobi answered, his voice seemed painfully familiar to them. Take off the hood, ordered the Uchiha. And you're still the same Tima, you're ready to make me lose my temper with just words. He started giving orders here, said the unknown man, but took off his hood. No, it can't be. Sasuke was in shock like everyone else. Naruto. And Naruto-kun. Hello guys. Hello Hinata, long time no see, Naruto said. This is a story about a boy who had the spirit of the fox sealed in him. This boy's name was Naruto. He faced many troubles and misfortunes, but he walked with his head held high and looked into the face of danger with a smile. He became a strong shinobi. A shinobi who became known as the hero of the 5 nations.